What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What just happened?
What the f*** happened?
What just happened? I'm Dan. That's Julia. And today we're here to talk Only Murders in the Building, Season 3, Episode 8, called Sitzprobe. Jules, I have tons I want to talk about right off the bat, and I'm sure you do too.
I know. I do.
Really good episode. I've been really happy with the quality the past 3 weeks now. But before we get into it, I got to let people know we're doing a giveaway. Once we hit 2,300 subs, we're going to give away a $50 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is subscribe. That's it. And also, we're definitely 1,000% doing a theory video this week in 2 days. So get your comments, get your theories in. There's tons to dig into from this episode alone. So we're going to be focusing on that type of stuff, but it could be about anything, about Talbot, whatever, people that weren't in this episode, doesn't matter. Get those theories in. We'll read as many as we can in 2 days. All right. It opens up. You texted me, did you start watching yet? Because you wanted to talk about something immediately.
I was 5 minutes into the episode.
Yeah. We called something correctly with the help of the commenters, of course. So we find out right away. This episode opens up with Loretta doing some type of monologue, talking about how she ended up in New York City, got pregnant, gave her baby up for adoption, and it's Dickie. So we were right about that. And that's really satisfying to get that answer now, Yeah,
it is.
So yeah, and that's what we said. We said she's Dickie's mom, and that's why she's making the scrapbook to follow Dickie, not Ben, like it looks like initially. Dickie's her son. It's the night of Sitzprobe when they were going to have the actors with the orchestra for the first time, and then we see a shot of her like debating, am I going to tell him? Because she wrote a letter for Dickie to explain the whole situation, how she's the biological mom. Then we get the opening credits. But I like this, Jules, how they went right back to that interaction and had Loretta go talk to Dickie. They set up a dinner date.
Yeah.
So supper later?
Okay. I'd love to. Okay. Hey, break a leg.
Loretta!
Ultimately, might not get to happen because what happens in this episode, but I am convinced. I'm convinced on something. I'll hold it for when we get to it, but it involves Loretta. Definitely convinced.
Okay, now question. So I guess we know now that Dickie is not privy to Loretta being his mom, right?
Correct. Yeah, and some people thought so in the comments.
Do you think he ever takes like her giddiness as like flirting?
Oh my God. Oh, have two creepy just like Cliff and Donna's relationship, kissing on the lips.
He's like, oh, do you want to do dinner? And I'm like, oh, does he think
that? Oh God.
No, yuck.
I hope not. Felt bad for Loretta this episode. She was going through a lot of emotions, obviously. Then Oliver is hurt that Mabel dropped a podcast without them.
You released a podcast without us?
Thought you didn't care about this investigation.
I don't.
She is talking about how Talbot lent her his GoPro.
Whoa, GoPro.
And Charles is wondering why she's not at the Arconia anymore. She explains that she's staying with Leo. She had to move out. Then they get to it that her gut feeling is that Dickie is the murderer.
You have a suspect?
I have a lot to figure out. My gut keeps telling me it's Dickie.
Which, of course, Oliver is okay with. But that's like the theme of this episode, right? To really look at Dickie. And I don't think it's him anymore. I did like a week ago, but I don't think so anymore. I really don't. What about you with Dickie?
I kind of think maybe he could still be involved in the re-murdering of Ben.
Not the first one?
No, I think Loretta might have been telling the truth about that one.
Oh, you do? What she said at the end, you think she was telling the truth? Okay.
I think in part, yes.
I mean, it definitely could be the case. And that would be fine to get that answer now. We have 2 episodes left. So that is totally plausible that she was telling the truth, that she did poison him, but he survived that one. So she didn't actually kill him. But I wonder if you're right there. That part is true. I could see that. At first, I was thinking, no way, that she's just saying anything so Dickie's not being looked at anymore.
Yeah, right. But couldn't you see it though?
Yeah, I definitely could. Yeah, I could.
She knows how much of a dick Ben was to Dickie.
Yeah, she knows that.
I mean, I could see her doing it. And just the way that Dickie was talking in one part of this episode, just, I don't know. It was when he was talking about how he was like, oh, I felt free and then I was trapped all over again.
Yes. Yep.
Which kind of makes me think that he might have had a part
in the second one. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say a theory towards the end that some of the commenters brought up, and that has to do with that. But then, the news gets out that Greg was released. Talbot texts Mabel, you were right. And then everyone gets a text. And right after that, Detective Williams makes her grand entrance back.
The killer is someone in this room.
So here we go. you know, we knew this moment was coming because of the commenters that she was going to come back. She was going to make this accusation. So we get it. And I think it went really well for her return. This episode was great. It might be my favorite one of this whole season. It really might be.
She
And,
really just puts like the finishing touch on it.
yeah, for sure. And Cliff and Donna are just upset. You know, they're focusing on the show. They're upset that a critic, Maxine, is there. And Oliver just wants to build buzz because he knows that Maxine was going to pan it originally. So he wants to get her opinion on the musical. So I think it's actually smart as far as the show's concerned.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Oliver later. I feel really bad about that. The trio and Detective Williams are in the back. She wants to find a room to do interrogations. Mabel says, you know, we need to get in on those interviews. Oliver just seems pretty concerned about the whole thing. And Mabel goes, hey, finding the killer is the only way we have in opening night. We have to do this.
Right. I mean, not wrong.
You know, Oliver just doesn't want to go through this at all, but Mabel really, she put it to him like, hey, this is something we have to do, and then we can move on. So I think he was on board after that. Then Howard, who's just steals every scene he's in.
I want to be her in the next life.
Wants Mabel.
I love him. I love him.
Yeah. So he's so good. And him and Mabel are good together. And I really like their chemistry together. So he has something he wants to show Mabel.
Mabel, come on.
But at this point, I'm noticing the trio is still awkward between the three of them. The energy.
Yeah, definitely
this
tension.
point. Yeah, just a little weird. I think they do get past that towards the end, but still at this point, little weird. Howard explains the spooky noise he heard opening night that he had told Mabel before.
Then this happened. The spooky sound from opening night when I was looking for the broom and the door was locked.
It turns out that it was a shredder. So someone was shredding documents, papers, whatever, what have you, the night on opening night. So what were they shredding? Why were they shredding it? Obviously to hide something, but he thinks he can reassemble it, the bits of paper. He thinks he can do that he would be good at that because he's good at word puzzles and and the like.
Word jumbles. Yeah.
Word jumbles. Yeah. That's where he is. I think that's actually a great idea. That is very possible to do. It's got to be really hard to do, but it's possible to do that.
Yeah,
So.
I don't have that kind of patience.
Me either. I do not either. Howard seems like he's the man for the job. He really wants tape.
Go get me scotch tape, then get the hell out of my way.
So he tells Mabel to go get him tape a few times, and he wants his space. Here's where the genius plan begins that we find out later what they were doing with Detective Williams. So he found her a room, you know, his dressing room, and he tries to stay. He's awkward, gets kicked out, comes back in, is awkward, but this is all part of a plan. He's playing Detective Williams and she doesn't even know it at this point.
Yeah, but it's also very Charles, like, so it doesn't seem suspicious.
No, it doesn't. He fooled me. I was like, oh, he's just trying to stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, didn't think, and we saw the GoPro earlier, so it was right there for us to
listen. I was thoroughly impressed. Go ahead, guys. Okay,
Yeah,
we're learning
it was
some
good.
stuff.
It was really smart. So I can't wait to see that footage. Loretta texts Oliver that she wants to talk. So obviously it's going to be about the book that was missing earlier in the episode, the scrapbook of Dickie and Ben. So he goes to see her to talk about it and doesn't lie. Hey, did you take something? Yeah, I took it. Here it is. I'm sorry. And you don't have to explain, but you kind of do have to explain. And that doesn't really go well. She thinks that he doesn't trust her. It's not the best moment between those two, but it ends because she gets called to the stage by KT. And then Bobo's doing his interview and Oliver does the whole thing of trying to stay when really they're just setting this plan up and getting it in motion. It's really genius. Really great job.
Really was.
And then Mabel talks to Loretta for a quick second. Really, Loretta's just trying to get information like why she thinks it's Dickie.
Maybe I should find out what your theory is and lend a hand.
Oliver told her that Mabel thinks it's Dickie, so she wants to get some information and see what she can learn in the situation. But then I think this might have to do with the ending here. When she said she wants to help and Mabel says,
You know, killers sometimes insert themselves into investigations.
my first thing was Taubert came right back. My Taubert feeling came right back because that's what he did.
That's true. Also, something feels sketchy about him giving Mabel his GoPro.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And like maybe it's just because like he wants to get like some juicy footage for like whatever documentary he's inevitably going to make about this, but something still
He
feels off about him.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he definitely could just be like people have said, just working for syndicating. That's totally plausible, but I still think he had something to do with it. The way this season has been going, they started with him and giving us some information, and then they really pulled back on him, just like we did on the show. We pulled back, but then it's like perfect to bring him right back into it and be like, here you go. That's why. So I think,
Like, hey, remember him?
exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what they're doing to us right now. So I don't know. I think it's shaping up to have Tyler be involved in some way, shape, or form. But like I said,
Alright.
he could just be working for Cinda. You don't know. So Loretta's talking about Dickie, how she doesn't think he did it.
Dickie's just a really good kid.
Said he like 50.
And Mabel's like, hey, he was in charge of Ben's food. That could be an easy way to do it. Pretty convenient. And then Loretta tries to bring up Bobo and KT and anybody else she could bring up to try to change the
KT,
suspicion.
what a bitch.
What a bitch. Could be.
Yeah, what a bitch. Yeah. Just grasping at straws here, and it doesn't work. Then we get another part that leads to be a part of something bigger. When Charles is performing his song, Williams goes to see it.
Just watch. Just watch.
And that's what they did. They planted it. It was like Inception. They got it into her head. He crushes it, does a great job. Really
Fantastic job.
Yeah, it was a really catchy song. This is when Oliver sneaks off. I wrote down in my notes because we didn't know at this point. I was like, what is he up to? We see Mabel and Howard hard at work trying to piece together the shredded docs. A bunch of things are going on. Dickie's getting talked to by the police. Like all this is happening while Charles is still singing. And they did a great job with camera work, getting
I was
everyone
going to say
involved.
that. I really
Yeah, it
liked
was
the way
really
they
cool.
did that.
And then right after that, Dickie cancels dinner with Loretta because that's why the cops were talking to him. They want to talk.
I can't do dinner tonight. The cops said they need to talk to me.
Why? What about?
It can't be good.
And she seems really upset. And Howard and Mabel are not making any progress with their trying to piece together the shredded docs. He's pretty down, but he tries to cope with not finding anything. And then Mabel finds the box of rat poisoning, which could definitely be what they used. I think it probably is. Then she gets some motivation to motivate Howard, really, like to encourage him to keep trying. She knows she's not going to do it. I think you can do it. Keep trying. He will, but he wants to get on the podcast as a reward.
I can be on the podcast.
I said might, and who knows?
I want to see that scene. I want to see that.
I said maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. But before she left, he found the date of the opening night on a piece of paper. So that's the page they want to focus on. I think he'll piece it together. What do you think?
Yeah, he's got this.
Yeah.
I have faith
So
in
we
Howard.
have that yet to see. What is that document? And then we have the interrogation footage that we get to see. Hopefully next week. That's going to be a great episode if they cover
I
both
know. I
of those.
can't wait. Oh, I hope they do.
So then we get that scene that we've been alluding to, Jules, the trio talk.
We have the interrogations on tape.
And they say what they did, how they manipulated Detective Williams to get the GoPro in there while Charles was performing. And they got footage of all of the interrogations, from that point on, whenever they put it in there. But genius, really genius stuff.
Yeah. I got to be honest. I was kind of waiting for them to be like, get this like crazy plan out that they did and then have Mabel go, yeah, it would have been nice if you turned it on. Like,
Oh,
or
God.
hit record or like, you know what I mean?
But hey, luckily that didn't happen. And like I said earlier, they told us about the GoPro. So like that was like a part of this episode and then they use it. So really, really smart. And Mabel's impressed.
Oh my God, that sounds so unnecessarily complicated, but you guys actually did it.
Uh-huh.
To the point that they make up and they're going to film another podcast episode together.
Want to make a podcast with me?
Really cool to see that. Really nice to see that. I don't like seeing them all argue. And then Loretta gets, I guess, motivation for what we see at the end when she's talking to Donna. When Donna says,
you spend your whole life looking out for your child. It never stops. And you'll do anything to make sure they're okay.
so like the look she gave in the mirror after that really had an effect on her, hearing that. It's like she knew that, but hearing that, it made it even more prevalent in her mind. And then a nice moment, Maxine compliments Oliver, saying it's pure Putnam, and that she basically is giving her approval for Death Rattle Dazzle. That's a nice moment for Oliver. He's putting his health at risk even doing this. So it's really, you could tell that meant a lot to him to hear that. But then we get the scene with Loretta talking to Dickie, and they talk about opening night. It was, a crazy night and everything that happened. But Dickie admits, like you said earlier, that he felt free.
But when he was gone for those few brief moments, I felt free.
And then he came back and he was trapped again. So it's like, okay, are they giving us something real with this conversation here?
You know what I mean? Like,
and you think so?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I also kind of feel like a dual meaning in that whole, Donna saying, you'll do anything to make sure your kid's okay. Does that mean that she's lying to save him from being arrested? Or does that mean that she's telling the truth to save him from being arrested?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
100%.
mean?
Yeah. Or telling half the truth because she did do the first one. Possibly.
That's what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you agree with Jules? You think she did the first one and then somebody else did the second one, possibly Dickie? Because he was saying how he felt trapped. It could be the answer right there in this conversation. That could be it. Then he asked her what she wanted to say to him. She doesn't feel it's the right time to say, oh, hey, I'm your mom, by the way. So she just says,
You didn't deserve this. None of this.
and then he says,
You are the best part about these last few months for me.
really nice moment. Again, Jules, like you said, hopefully it's not a romantic thing in Dickie's mind.
See, that's why I said that.
Yeah, really hope not. My brain didn't go there, but now that you said it, it's only there. So I hope not.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Oliver has a nice moment with Loretta saying he does trust her. He just wants to do their hit show and then fall asleep in her arms. And then he says,
I love you.
and then he doubles down on it.
But you know what? It felt right. So I'm going to say it again. Here it goes. I love you.
And says it again. So he's committed that he loves her. And it just breaks my heart that it lasts about 5 minutes before it gets ruined. Maybe.
She didn't even say it back.
No, she didn't. No.
That would have been ruined immediately for me. Like,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, at least do the Han Solo thing.
I love you.
I know.
That would work.
right? Give me something.
Yeah. And then, all right, Loretta's singing, and it was very reminiscent of Charles singing with a bunch of things happening in the background. But Charles spots her book, her scrapbook, goes through it, finds the letter. Mabel actually was the first to grab the book. He grabs the letter and he just reads it, which is really invasive. But I get it. There's a murder you're trying to solve. So I get it. And Mabel notices that this thing's for Dickie. This book is for Dickie. Why would he be in every picture?
These aren't photos of Ben. They're photos of Dickie.
So as Mabel puts this together and she notices it, Dickie is being taken in by the police. And then she just loses it, basically. Doesn't want him to go in. So she says she did it.
I did it. I killed Ben.
She poisoned him. And when it didn't work, she pushed him down the elevator shaft.
I put poison in his disgusting protein drink. And then when that didn't work, he showed up at the party and I pushed him down the elevator shaft.
Which is exactly what happened, but doesn't mean she did it. Oliver's freaking out.
Loretta, no. No,
Not gonna let another innocent man go to jail for what I did.
They cuff her, they take her away, and all of this stress builds up, and Oliver has another heart attack as the episode ends. That's a rough way to end the episode. Really tough way. That's the second one this season.
If they take Oliver away from us,
Yeah.
boycott the show.
Can you imagine if they actually did that? That would.
They would never.
That's what I'm thinking too. But like that looked bad. You know what I mean?
It did look really bad.
Yeah.
But like,
So
you can't do that, right?
I hope not. But okay, here's the theory that people have said in the comments. So I'm going to give them all the credit. They do think basically what you said earlier. They think Loretta poisoned them, and then Dickie pushed him down the elevator shaft. That's
I didn't
a
even
very
see that.
Yeah, very popular opinion in the comments. I've seen it a few times. We could be building towards that. What I'm wondering though, are they going to mention this twin thing again? Like
Maybe we're just wrong.
maybe
That was a red herring.
could have been. Like, why have a GC and then a CG tattoo other than there's a twin situation? But they're not really alluding to it much anymore outside of the whole Pickwick triplets thing, with there would be 3. So it would be
I
Ben,
mean,
his twin and Dickie.
that's also true. So
Yeah.
maybe they're just doing the same thing with Taubert, you know, they're just like pulling back on that theory a little bit just to make us maybe question ourselves.
I really hope Taubert has a decent sized role next week because I really want to see what they're doing with his character. If they're building him up to be a possible suspect. You know, obviously we didn't get the whole answer tonight. It's not Loretta did both. I don't think that's the case.
No, it's too easy.
Yeah, too easy. And it's only episode 8. So it's not that. But what do you guys think? Did you like this episode? I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was so good. And it also really set up the last 2 episodes perfectly. So it's like, what else do you want? It's absolutely perfect. So yeah, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And once we hit 2,300 subs, which we're a little over 100 away, we're going to give away a $50 Amazon gift card to one of you guys. Thanks so much for all the engagement lately. You guys have been commenting like crazy and liking, and it's been so much fun. I'm having a blast covering this show.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite shows we've covered, really.
It's so much fun.
Yeah,
it's like you get the mystery, but it's not like depressing like Servant.
Yeah, I have a special place in my heart for Servant because that was the first one we did.
Don't get me wrong, I will always love Servant.
Yeah, me too.
But sometimes it's nice to have something with a little hee hee ha ha in it, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yellow Jackets is really dark. Silo is pretty dark. So this is different. You know, it's different. Comment those shows below what you want to see next, or if you want to see the Changeling, let us know. And theory video coming in 2 days. Get those theories in, get those comments going. Go wild, and we'll read as many as we can then. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
And can I be on your podcast? But I do love a good cheer. No distractions. Ooh, do I smell Schmackery's cookies?
Holliver, I just said. So dumb.
Hey, you know what else hasn't changed? What a terrific team we make.